Next. Behind this reunion selfie lies an untold story of time, fame, loss, and the lasting legacy of the Sopranos. There are some shows that become popular. There are some shows that become legendary. And then there are a few that change the language of television so completely that everything after them has to speak in their shadow. The Sopranos is one of those shows. That is why the selfie with time idea fits it so perfectly. Because this was never just a mafia series. It was never just a family drama. It was never just a show about violence, therapy, money, guilt, suburban dinners, panic attacks, and betrayal. It was a show about contradiction. About the distance between the self people perform and the self they cannot outrun. About the son, the father, the husband, the criminal, the patient, the animal, and the child all living inside the same man. A younger James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano, still carrying all that pressure in his shoulders, still eating, raging, grieving, lying, loving, commanding, and unraveling in the same body. And because Gandolfini is gone, the imagined reunion no longer feels merely nostalgic. It feels elegiac. It feels like television trying to look back at one of its greatest faces before time took him away. People notes he died in 2013 at 51, and HBO's own page still foregrounds him as the core of this Emmy and Golden Globe winning series. A younger Edie Falco as Carmela Soprano, still carrying the impossible labor of loving a man who makes intimacy dangerous. An older Edie Falco standing beside her now, after 4 Emmys and 2 Golden Globes for that role, as if the character never fully stopped breathing. People's 2024 reflection on the finale even shows how emotionally raw the ending still remains for her. A younger Lorraine Bracco as Dr. Melfi, still trying to understand the human being underneath the monster. A younger Michael Imperioli as Christopher, still burning to become more than what the family made of him. A younger Dominic Chianese as Junior, Tony Sirico as Paulie, Stephen Van Zandt as Silvio, Jamie Lynn Sigler as Meadow, Robert Eiler as AJ. All of them standing in that strange place where family and fate have already begun to blur into one thing. That is what the Sopranos always understood. Not only crime, not only psychology, not only masculinity. It understood inheritance. The series ran from 1999 to 2007 on HBO, and HBO still frames it as an Emmy and Golden Globe-winning landmark. The Television Academy separately notes its historic place as the first cable series ever nominated for Outstanding Drama Series, a threshold that helped open the prestige TV era that followed. That matters. Because The Sopranos did not merely become one more great show. It helped redefine what television drama could be. The Emmy Archive shows the series' long award life, and the 59th Primetime Emmys report confirms that the show won top series honors at the end of its run. The Golden Globes Archive records Best Television Series, Drama and Acting wins, including wins for James Gandolfini and Edie Falco. But awards alone do not explain the afterlife. What explains the afterlife is the feeling. The ducks. The pool. The therapy room. The cold cuts in the kitchen. The smell of cereales. The glow of the bada bing. The awful intimacy of hearing a son speak like his father. The way a joke could become a threat in half a second. The way a family dinner could feel more dangerous than a gunfight. This was a crime show that understood that the most terrifying violence was not always physical. Sometimes it was emotional inheritance. Sometimes it was a sentence spoken over pasta. Sometimes it was the knowledge that love and damage had become impossible to separate. That is why the selfie with time frame hits so hard here. Because The Sopranos was already a story full of doubles. The public self and the private self. The son and the father. The criminal and the patient. The child who wants love and the man who destroys the people closest to him. So what happened to the cast? Who is still active? Who stepped back? And who is no longer here? The broad answer is that much of the ensemble remained active, though at different levels of visibility. People's Where Are They Now? Feature tracks continued work for Edie Falco, Jamie Lynn Sigler, Michael Imperioli, Dri DiMatteo, Lorraine Bracco, Ida Turturro, and others, while Dominic Chianese was still public enough to celebrate his 95th birthday last week with Edie Falco and David Chase. That means the post-Sopranos story is not one of a cast vanishing. It is more a story of divergence. Some remained highly visible. Some worked steadily without staying in the hottest center of attention. Some became more selective. Some, like Chianese, aged into a kind of living elder statesman status around the show's legacy. And then there is the harder truth. Many important people connected to The Sopranos are no longer here. James Gandolfini died in 2013 at age 51. Tony Sirico later died as well, and People's Cast Update also exists in the long shadow of other losses around the show's orbit. IMDb and related cast/death listings reflect the continuing attrition of that generation. Gandolfini's death, in particular, permanently changed the emotional meaning of revisiting the series. Once you know that, the reunion image changes. The younger self in costume is no longer only a memory. It becomes preservation. The older self, if still here, becomes witness. Witness to the years. Witness to the fact that the role did not disappear after the last episode. Witness to the way television history kept returning to that face, that voice, that family, that final cut to black. And when the actor is gone, the imagined reunion becomes elegiac. Not flashy. Not sentimental in a cheap way. Elegiac. That matters especially with Gandolfini, because Tony Soprano is not just one great TV character among many. He is one of the central inventions of modern television. Rolling Stone ranks The Sopranos #1 among the greatest TV shows of all time, and its more recent anniversary and episode coverage still treats the series as a transformational work. Variety's all-time ranking also places it at the very top tier of television history. So then comes the difficult question. Has anything surpassed it? The honest answer is that many shows compete. The Wire has its champions. Breaking Bad has its champions. Mad Men has its champions. There is no universal final vote. But The Sopranos remains the show most often spoken of as the one that changed the rules. Rolling Stone's #1 ranking is one clear expression of that consensus, while Emmy history records its cable breakthrough as another. And maybe that is because the show's core value is stronger than people sometimes admit. People often describe The Sopranos as being about anti-heroes. That is true, but incomplete. It is really about what happens when violence becomes family language, when tenderness becomes embarrassing, when morality becomes negotiated. When people inherit damage so early and so completely that they mistake it for personality. That is the real terror of the show. Tony is not frightening only because he can order violence. He is frightening because he can be loving, funny, wounded, generous, petty, childish, perceptive, and monstrous in the span of a single scene. That is why he still feels alive. That is why Gandolfini's performance still feels less like acting than exposure. So what is the core value of The Sopranos? The truth you refuse to face will still shape the life you pass on to others. That is what the series says, over and over. Go to therapy or don't. Confess or don't. Justify or deny. Drink, eat, rage, provide, cheat, protect, threaten, repent, repeat. The truth remains. What you are unwilling to confront in yourself does not disappear. It becomes atmosphere. It becomes family behavior. It becomes inheritance. It becomes the emotional weather your children grow up inside. That is why Carmela matters. Why Meadow matters. Why AJ matters. Why Melfi matters. Why Junior, Janice, Christopher, and Paulie matter too. Because each of them reveals a different route by which damage becomes culture. And that is why the younger and older self frame works so well for this show. The younger Tony still thinks power can outrun emptiness. The memory of the older Gandolfini tells you it couldn't. The younger Carmela still thinks morality can be negotiated if the house is beautiful enough. The older Edie Falco beside her shows how much sorrow was always living under the polish. The younger Christopher still thinks ambition might save him. The older Imperioli knows ambition inside a poison family often just gives the poison a better vocabulary. The younger Meadow still thinks escape is possible. The older Jamie Lynn Sigler would know that growing up inside a family like this means carrying it whether you stay or go. That is not just nostalgia. That is television aging into moral clarity. And perhaps that is the final achievement of The Sopranos. Not just the awards. Not just the rankings. Not just the revolution it triggered in TV drama. But the fact that, decades later, it still feels emotionally dangerous. Still alive. Still unresolved. Still able to make viewers argue, grieve, laugh, and flinch as if it ended yesterday. That is rare. Because most shows become relics. Some become comfort rewatches. A few become monuments. The Sopranos became something harder to classify. A monument that still feels unstable. A classic that still feels intimate. A family saga that still feels like a threat. And that is why your selfie with time concept fits it so deeply. Because the show itself was always about the collision between who people were, who they pretended to be, and what time finally revealed. So when the younger cast stands beside the older cast, one frame suddenly contains the whole argument of the series. The son and the father. The mask and the wound. The family and the cost. And in the case of those who are gone, the image becomes something more than reunion. It becomes witness. When you think about The Sopranos today, which performance feels the most timeless to you? James Gandolfini, Edie Falco, Michael Imperioli, Lorraine Bracco, or someone else? Which selfie with time reunion from The Sopranos would hit you the hardest, and why? Do you think any TV series has truly surpassed The Sopranos in influence and emotional complexity, or does it still sit at the top for you?